skateboarding has the most injuries ending in a trip to the hospital, you'd probably believe me, but that's just not the case. Skateboarding is more than just riding around hoping you don't get hurt. It's a culture where talented people can come together and celebrate the little things in life. It's important that everybody learns more about skateboarding so we can change the negative perception that some people have towards it. You should listen to us because we've been skateboarding for over 5 years and have also done research on the topic. With that being said, Hunter and I will be informing you about the culture of skateboarding. First, I'll be talking about the history of skateboarding. Next, Hunter will talk about how skateboarding has had an influence on fashion. Then I will talk about the sport of skateboarding in terms of competition. Finally, Hunter will talk about skaters' infamous reputation. So much like everything in the world, skating had to start somewhere. For those of you that don't know, skateboarding started in the 1950s when surfers needed something to do when the waves weren't up to par. Originating in Hawaii and California, the first skateboards were actually created out of surfboards, attached with metal wheels without bearings. To no surprise, these skateboarders quickly got named asphalt surfers. So the first milestone skateboarding hit was in 1962 when the surf shop Val Surf sold the first self-produced skateboards. These skateboards had a typical surfboard shape, including roller skate wheels, sold as complete boards. Just 1 year later, skateboarding would hit another milestone in 1963, when the first skate contest was held in Hermosa Beach, California. Skateboarding had moved past the cruising era, and people were able to show off their skills through different routines like freestyle. Due to this quick boom in popularity, the first skateboarding magazine, The Quarterly Skateboarder, was published in 1964. Moving into the 70s came the most change overall. In the early 70s, Larry Stevenson created the kicktail and Frank Nasworthy invented urethane wheels. These inventions were huge for skateboarding because they allowed skateboards to be launched into the air and also move at much faster speeds. In the mid-70s, the first skate parks were introduced, and towards the end of the decade, the greatest trick ever, called the ollie, was created. Rodney Mullen perfected this trick, and he spread a new style of skateboarding called street skateboarding. Street skateboarding was very popular throughout the 80s, and it would carry on until present time. So now that I just talked about the history of skateboarding, Hunter will now talk about the influence skateboarding has had on the world of fashion.
Fashion and streetwear roots start, of course, from California skate and surf culture, but it's also mixed in with a lot of hip-hop and high fashion. Due to this, there are very many subcultures, making it a very undefined genre, and there's very many gray areas. It all started in the 70s and 80s due to punk and hip-hop influences, which took on this DIY approach, largely credited to Stussy. Stussy at the time was a very big surfboard maker, or they shaped surfboards, and they started selling clothing with their logo on it, and this was the first DIY approach to their own merchandise. And this soon took off with a lot of punk artists selling their album covers on their shirts. In the late 80s, Nike's was the biggest dominator of the streetwear industry, and then in the late 90s, high fashions such as Gucci and Burberry would join in. And this is a quote from Jake Phelps, the late editor of fashion. And it was very interesting to me to see that he did not like the free publicity that Rihanna and Justin Bieber gave him. This is Evan Mock, who is fashion for Louis Vuitton, Prada, Off-White, Dior, and many other high fashion brands. He's a native Hawaiian who met Frank Ocean through random street gala, who posted this video of him doing this really impressive trick, and he's been blowing up ever since this was taken in mid-2019. And he's fashioned for so many good companies. He's helped bring skaters into the mainstream and more into the fashion world, which is very important to help the culture develop and evolve furthermore. Now Nick is going to discuss the skating sport as a whole.
So skateboarding is an independent sport where success relies solely on your shoulders. Without teammates or coaches, it's up to you to learn your own tricks and practice on your own time. By sharing the park with other skaters, you learn to be more patient and get better at communicating. When you watch other skaters perform their own tricks, you also learn to be more creative and you tend to experiment with tricks you've never tried before. So skating competitions happen at the local, regional, national, and international levels. What's great about many of these events is that you don't need to be an aged professional to skate at these levels. Many of these events offer competitions for amateurs, which allow you to skate on the same courses as the pros. There are some competitions, though, for the tip-top skateboarders, those being X Games and Street League. These competitions offer cash prizes of over $200,000 for the winners. Professional skateboarder Gregory Snyder mentioned in his book that Street League has become what few thought possible, a prestigious contest that has turned skateboarding into a professional sport. By a show of hands, how many of you have heard of Tony Hawk? Well, Tony Hawk was the greatest skateboarder of all time. Over a 17-year career as a professional, he created 80 tricks and he won 73 out of his 103 competitions. After landing the first 900, which is 2.5 spins in the air, he decided it was time to hang it up and retire. With his massive fame and his popularity, he decided to launch a video game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater through Activision, which became one of the best-selling game franchises of the early 2000s. Research shows that 70% of skateboarders are under the age of 18. This would explain why Tony Hawk's skateboarding game was such a success, because his audience was of such a younger age. So now that I just talked about the sport of skateboarding as a whole, Hunter is now going to talk about skaters' infamous reputation.
We're all aware of skaters' bad reputation in society, but in reality, most are very innocent, trying to go from point A to point B, or just trying to hang out with some friends. In the Daily Aztecs article, Opinions, Haters Hate, Skaters Skate, they discussed about some issues that we have here on our campus, talking about some unfair policies and some other restricting policies for skaters. They talked about how here on our campus, we need more skate lanes and more skate racks. The only skate racks we can find here on our campus are at the art and the arts and lettering buildings, but they're not nearly as commonplace as they should be for how many skaters are on our campus. Adding more skate lanes would also be very beneficial, because if skaters are caught skating outside of these skate lanes, they can be ticketed, which is just a very unfair and unlucky thing to happen for skaters, because they're just trying to get to class just as the rest of us are. So adding more skate lanes or less restrictions, skaters can now get to class faster and out of other ways, everyone's ways. A way that skaters can live up to their rebellious lifestyles nowadays and still be very successful is through creative platforms such as Instagram or YouTube and other videos. An example of that is Garrett Jenner, who is sponsored by Crutz, Struts, Arbor, Red Bull, and others. And he's very successful at it. He makes very interesting videos such as jumping the LA River. And this is a way for skateboarding companies to stay true to their skate culture and support whoever they want to support. Today, Nick and I have informed you on skate culture, all the way from the history and evolution to fashion to competition and skaters' reputation in society. Remember, skating doesn't care about your race, weight, class, or whatever. It's all about having